Hey guys, welcome back to the show. And back to the Ava Technology Show, where we're diving into the latest AI news. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do all those amazing things. We really, really appreciate it. We genuinely do. We're a new show, so just even say hi in the comments. It's great to sort of build up our community and get to know you guys, and let us know what you think. So let's dive straight into it. Will, what's the latest in the AI news universe that is just moving at such a rate of pace? You know, it's hard to keep on top of things.
It really is, and today is a good one, to be fair. Today's one hasn't felt like it's been fast-moving because we've been waiting for it for a very long time. But yesterday, and we're talking on Wednesday the 19th of November, so Tuesday the 17th, Google finally released their new Gemini model, Gemini 3. It's been long awaited because this year, all of the frontier AI labs have released their new models. They've all been state-of-the-art. And we haven't really heard a peep from Google in a long old time. The last model they released was obviously the Gemini 2.5 series. And they were really good models for the time, but they have severely lacked behind this year compared to a lot of the new state-of-the-art stuff coming out. But finally, we have Gemini 3. And I must admit, I can see why they delayed it. It has not disappointed. It is state-of-the-art in almost every single benchmark out there. It beats every model in everything. Interestingly, other than coding, which is a funny one, because obviously that will be our biggest use case of it. But in every other domain, it is beating, and by a long shot, not just like a percent or two. We're hitting, for example, the Arc AGI 2 bench, which is deeply hard. It's a measurement of how close we are to AGI. The last model that we had here, we got Claude Sonnet 4.5, which is arguably one of the best models in the world, along with GPT 5.1. 17.6 for GPT 5.1, and Claude Sonnet 13.6%. Google come in here with 31.1%, doubling the benchmark, give or take a percent. So,
wow,
it's an incredible model. They've released a whole bunch of new things alongside it, like coding IDEs and tooling, and they're giving it away for free. And lots of those tools, they really come in and smashed it.
Wow, that's not even like an insignificant improvement. Those benchmarks just. They've just obviously been heads down. Let's not talk about it. Let's just build, and we're just gonna go boom, take that.
Yeah, I think the Google comeback has been tremendous, because I don't know if you remember, Ben, from a couple of years ago, Google really had a stalling start with AI. They really struggled with it. With the launch of ChatGPT, there was a humongous lead there, and they released various things like Bard. I don't know if you remember Bard. That was the very first iteration of Google's chat. It fell short in many respects, and they really struggled to get going. But I must admit, over 2025 and 2024, half of 2024, they have redeemed themselves in almost every domain.
They've obviously, just got their heads down and thought we'd better catch up and and chuck some resources at this. So it's good to see. I'll be taking a look at that later today, I think, and having a play and just see how it is. Have you had a chance to look at it yet?
It's on my list today. It got released yesterday. I was super busy with work and life, but I've been seeing it all over X, people saying it's the best thing since sliced bread. They're showing off the designs that it's managing to one-shot, and it's not coming, and comparing it to other models that are considered state-of-the-art, and it's not even coming close. They've released a new IDE called Anti-Gravity, which is a coding tool. Again, I might try that out, because obviously that's very pertinent to what we do, but it's incredible. Honestly, it's just the comeback of Google compared to another company like Apple, who stalled in the AI race and has continued to stall, and is now even looking to Google to bail them out for it.
What's happening on that front?
Well, within Apple, they've not done anything, have they? They've not done anything. They've released a few.
Well, one
AI
would assume they're just
gimmicks.
building in the background and doing a similar sort of play, just heads down, and then sort of release something huge for their iPhone and iOS systems.
One would assume, but they are struggling so much that there was reports of doing a deal with Google to use their Gemini models as a replacement for, what they're trying to do, essentially, waving the white flag and looking. And again, it's very interesting that they've looked to Google to do that. There's obviously a reason behind that. They have a historic partnership anyway, but there's a lot of at the time they hadn't released the Gemini 3 model yet, so it's fascinating to see. What I don't want to do is for it to become a monopoly, though, where Google dominates absolutely everything, like they.
Well, this
do.
is it, isn't it? We're sort of cheering. Everyone's cheering the big tech and going, "Yeah, this is all amazing," and it's like you said, we don't want to just fall into the world that's just run by a few. Literally, our data, our information, our thoughts, our AIs, our money, it's all centralized by a few sort of power brokers. That's not good. It was interesting because I briefly read, I think there's something happening with Quen, and Alibaba are sort of trying to sort of do some updates and releases so there's more interactions with like shopping and things like that. So they're obviously trying to sort of, and reducing their prices to try and compete with ChatGPT for users. So there's this big arms race, isn't it? Everyone's trying to compete. I mean, in another few months we'll hear about another model that's released that's even beaten Gemini 3, and it's just constantly, arms race, and it's just going to be fascinating to see how it evolves, because we're having these conversations all the time about new models come out and it's now beating this benchmark. So how long will this be the top of the top of the chart? It's like Top of the Pops, isn't it? I don't know if anyone's old enough to remember Top of the Pops in the UK, but
this is it. Well, I guess every week's a new chart topper. I think that's what the only other thing that obviously go out and play with the model. This can be a short video. It's just a way to talk about it. But one of the things that are always on my mind with Google, which I think is important, is the privacy angle with them. People have to remember where Google makes their money. They make their money through advertising, search advertising, to be the biggest
is
one.
Basically users' data.
All user data. That's how they make their money. That's how they
You're
pay
being
for all
harvested, people.
So I would not see, and it's probably in the terms and conditions and the privacy policies somewhere deep, I would not see why something like Gemini is going to be, or is currently, any different to all of their other products that harvest and utilize data. Because at the end of the day, what pays for the party at Google is their search advertising business, which is all user driven.
So this is it, and it's interesting because again, I was reading about Cocoon AI network, which is part of the Telegram and the Ton network, and how basically they're building. It's basically a counter to all this centralized big tech, big government, big control, abusing users' data, surveillance state, and all those things. So it's interesting to see, the Telegram and the Cocoon AI network sort of looking to sort of counter that with decentralized AI, compute, and intelligence. And to be honest with you, it's something that we are thinking about very carefully in the background. We're not really talking about it yet because there's much more to be done. But this is something that we're exploring, because
100%.
although we're sort of working on device AI, and as good as that's getting, and it's improving all the time, there are still going to be, you got massive benefits, privacy for one, obviously, and controlling your data, but there are sort of drawbacks in terms of, they aren't massive models. So there's going to be sort of limitations. They're not going to be accessing the internet unless you want them to, which was something, again, we're looking at. So again, it's not going to have access to real-time information data like news, current affairs, the weather, for example. So we're sort of, I guess we've taken that first step with on device, which is the ultimate lockdown. You've been able to use it's just, it's cutting edge. It's being able to use an AI. I mean, I was before we're not going to talk about it because we're going to do a video on it, but I was using our test flight version on the aeroplane last week. And I was just like, airplane mode on, no internet, and I'm able to
just chatting away. It's amazing.
Just chat away, bouncing
on your
ideas on my iPhone, and people were around me looking at me going, he hasn't turned his phone off. He hasn't turned his internet off. I was like, nobody said anything, but I had, obviously. And it was just like, wow, this is, literally, zero surveillance.
Yeah.
Zero snoop, zero data, being leaked. There's just no harvesting, pure privacy, and you can just have those conversations. But obviously, we're thinking about where what happens next. When maybe people need access to a bigger model. How do we make sure there's, whether it's encryption or decentralized compute or intelligence or whatever it is. So that's something we're sort of thinking about. And it's interesting to see the TON network doing something similar. So good to counter that big tech, VC funded. You just know that's. I mean, actually, you know what? I'm writing some posts on LinkedIn actually, and about all these types of things. How, with social media, we thought that was a birth of being able to chat freely in conversation, have conversations with your friends. But ultimately, it's just a massive harvesting of your information and data, and you lose all your privacy. Messaging, we saw that with messaging. With people having conversations, being snooped on, and then the rise of things like Telegram, sort of countering that. So the more the world goes digital, and it is accelerating so much faster with AI, at a rate that's beyond anyone's imagination. That that aligned with digital, CBDCs and digital currencies and surveillance states, it's gonna be a potential dystopian future where there's big brother government literally just the thought police or monitoring, literally the thought police, because when you're on AI you are literally sharing your thoughts. So I think it's really important that people wake up and be aware of what they do online is like, I mean, literally last night, I'm going off on a slight tangent here. I was watching GB News, and they were talking about how civil servants, they are actually, there's a team of civil servants, or there's a department who are just focused on monitoring the public's X and social medias. Yeah, it's a whole thing. Just to sort of identify, I guess, flag risks and naughty conversations or whatever it is. It was literally on the news last night.
Yeah.
On mainstream news.
I think this is the thing, and to circle it back to something like Gemini 3 is, bear in mind, these, you can get very dazzled by the technology and how fantastic it is, and it is truly impressive. However, there is this sort of if you're awake to it, there is this looming privacy thing that's happening. As you get to be able to talk to it about more detailed ideas, more detailed thoughts for longer. That's more and more information that's personally attached to you. And right now they're scanning X profiles for naughty conversations. How long before there's backdoors to be able to scan conversations and your deepest, darkest thoughts that you've had with something like Gemini 3?
Maybe that's already happening. I can guarantee that.
Probably.
That is already happening, 100%. That we were talked about a couple of videos back about how there was this UK data sovereign,
data sovereignty,
or whatever it was. I can't remember what it was exactly.
OpenAI's deal to bring data sovereignty to the UK. Yeah, absolutely.
Mate, that has that written all over it. It meant the UK government didn't have to go knocking on the door of the US government to access that data. It meant it could access that data straight away without asking permission to do it from America. That's all that was, 100%. I mean, I please in the comments tell me if it was anything else, because I cannot see how it's anything else. And it was all wrapped up in, it's helping rely on GDPR and all these types of things and all the rest of it.
Absolutely. I think
it's a really people do not realize how scary and worrying this time is, because literally things are being built with control of the population in mind.
No, absolutely. And I think that, unfortunately, players like Google, like OpenAI, there'll be key roles in this data sovereignty issue that's arising. So, yes, bear it in mind. Gemini 3 is impressive. It's a tech spectacle. But yes, bear in mind what you're using it for. That's always the thing.
Absolutely. Well, listen, on that conspiratorial
saw Ben's conspiracy popping out.
Craziness.
No.
Love to know what you think. Keep tuned in. We're going to keep bringing you the news and sharing our views. And say hi in the comments. All right, guys. Until the next one, we'll catch you later.
Cheers, guys.